All right, this is the second AC that I gave you. And so it's asking for or actually giving us the average gas prices in various cities across Canada on May 6th, 2022. All amounts are in cents, right? So determine the mean and standard deviation of this data. So I've already gone ahead and entered all of this into my calculator, and I found the mean and the standard deviation. So here it is. 192.51, and that is actually cents, right? Cents per liter. To be specific, standard deviation is 11.74 cents per liter. And just to make sure we understand, so it's cents per liter that we're talking about. So this is the average across Canada or across all those cities, and there's a standard deviation of 11.74 cents. So we could use this data to compare to, let's say, the US, right? And look at what their price would be and their standard deviation, right? If it would vary more than ours or what have you, right? Given that it's a bigger country, I can see that it will vary more, right? Just keep that in mind. Also, N is 40, right? 40 cities that have been considered here, okay? So that's important to note. So when we make a frequency table using the interval width of 5 cents, so I already gave that away. We could have made this the width of a standard deviation, which is 11.74, but it does give you the 5 cents. So we're just going to go ahead and fill this in. So I'll pause here. You go ahead and try this as well. And then, so I will fill this part in. I will actually sort my list in L1 and then try to see in which category it fits in, and then fill out the frequency. You should do the same. It shouldn't take you that long. Try to speed this up. I will just roll it. You can fast forward, right? 65 to 170. Okay, so there we have it. Now let's see what all fits into which category. Let me just make sure that I did in fact sort. So there it is. So 161 fits in there. 63 is still there. 68 we're in here. 73 we're in here. Another 73. 77 we go to the next category. 78. 85 we actually skipped this one because it's 85.9, right? So it goes right in there. Keep going. 186, 88, 88, 89, we're still in this bracket. 194, 494, 95.9, so we're actually in here. Another one, keeps going. I'm at 30, sorry, I lost my track here, so let me just 7 and 3 is 10, 15, 20, 25, 29. So I need to, there, 30. 202 was in here. 203, 205.9, 206, 214 is, oh, and then I noticed another mistake. You probably noticed that too. There should have been 210 to 215, and then 215 to 220. Okay, good thing I caught it. So the 214 would go in here, and I'm almost done. 216.9 would go in here, and that's it. So once you've tallied it, right, you've done your running count. This is 2, 1, 2, 2, 0, 5, 3. This is 19, 2, 2, 1, 1. Okay, and then let's do a quick check. Right, so this is 2, 4, 6, and another 6. That's 12, and 3 is 15. And let's make this 20. It's 35, 36, 38, 39, 40. Okay, so we are at 40. We check to make sure that's all right. And then we make our graph. In this case, I want a histogram. No problem. So I basically use the values of my frequency table, right? Starting at 160, going up by 5. So let me just try this. 60, 65, 70, right? So it would be 70, 80, 190, 200, 210, 220. So it works out. Okay. So I'm going to start here. 160. Or I could do maybe, this is 65, and this would be 70. That will not work out. So I'll just make this 65, and this is 170, 180, 190, 200, 210, 220. And that's basically as high as I need to go. Right, sorry you couldn't see that. Just looking at, right, so I'm basically, I tried things. So I started 160, and then I went up by 5s. And so I need to have a zipper here because this represents 160. All of a sudden I'm going up by 5s, right? So this would be the gas price in cents, right? Gas prices, or gas price in cents. Okay, this would be the frequency, and that would be cities, right, along the y-axis. See if I can make this work here. There we go. And now I just make the bars, right? The highest I go to is 19 according to my frequency table. So 20, let's say. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I make everything 2, so this would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Okay, I'm going up to 20. So that means that this first bar goes from 160 to 165. It has 2 in it. The next bar has just 1 in it. Then I'm back to 2. I'm back to 2 from 175 to 180. Next one is 0. 185 to 190 has 5. So I'm going to go to 4, and this is 5 right there. Okay. So 5, 2, 2, 1, 2 so far. This one has nothing, right? And then we have 190 to 195. That's 3. And then you have 19 for 195 to 200. So that gets us almost all the way to the top, right? And then we have 2. 205 to 210, 2 as well. And then you've got 1 and 1. There we go. That's a histogram right there. And if we wanted a frequency polygon, we would simply connect the midpoints. Notice that the midpoint here would be right there. Okay, so it actually goes to the bottom and then back up. Maybe it's worthwhile doing that. I will just make that with a red pen. There you go. So I just say that this is the frequency polygon. You connect the midpoint. Sorry, you can't see that either there. Frequency polygon, there you go. So you've got a histogram and a frequency polygon at the same time. If it had gone straight to frequency polygon, I would have still done the same thing here. And then instead of bars, you just put a dot halfway between the interval, right? And then just connect that. But I'm not going to take marks off if you do both. So keep that in mind. Next page of this AC, you've seen something similar before. So the table shows the test scores of two of Mr. D's classes, right? You've got the scores, you've got class A, class B. If you see a frequency table, you need to figure out the midpoint, right? So 0 plus 10 is 10, divided by 2 is 5. Okay, so midpoints, right? So this would be 5, this would be 15, 25, 35, 45, and so forth. If you're not sure, just add them up, divided by 2. Okay. This goes into L1. I'll put this into L2 and this into L3. So we'll figure out the midpoints. It's kind of like the average score of this interval, and type this in as well because it's telling you, right, that 0 students scored between 0 and 10. We'll just say that the average score would have been 5, right? So this goes into L1, this goes into L2, and then we'll summarize that all here. Okay, so if you want to pause, right, you do that yourself now. And let's go to the top, clear. So that's my first class, and then the second, I'm just going to double check. So 0, 3 zeros, 5, 3, 6, 7, 10, 2, 1. It's a good habit to check. Then I have 0, 3, 2, 1, 3, 3, 2, 3, 5, 10. Okay. So I'm just going to double check 0, 3, 2, 1. Going from the top, 3, 3, 2, 3, 5, 10. Okay, we're doing good. So I'm going to figure out the mean standard deviation and the number of students, I guess, for class A. Stat, one variable stats. I'm going to go L1, comma L2 and figure out the information there. So that's 62.06. It doesn't say percentage, but it's fair to assume. Standard deviation is 16 exactly. And there are 34 students in that class. I'm going to rerun this again. So I'm going to go call that again, but instead of L2 as my frequency, I'm going to type in L3. So L1 and L3, okay? Because I'm now wanting to talk or look at class B, right? And student. Here we go, 67.5 is the average, so it did better overall. The standard deviation is 27.5%. And in that class, there are 32 students involved. Okay, so what's the significance or meaning of n in the chart, right? It represents, right? It represents the number of students in each class. You just need to know that, right? If Mr. D is primarily seeking consistency, right, when it comes to his assessments, which class would meet the criteria? Explain how you know, okay? And you look at their standard deviation, so you would say class A would be more consistent, comma, since it has a smaller standard deviation, okay? A smaller standard deviation indicates that on average, the distance between points, or the distance of the points, sorry, of points to the average, to the mean, I would say, is smaller. Therefore, clustered around mean. Okay. So that's kind of like the standard answer you would give there. So don't just tell me that that would be the best one. Explain to me why. Let me see that you have an insight as to why that is. Okay, now we're going to graph our frequency polygon for both classes. You use a solid line for A, dashed for B, so you can go ahead and do that. I'm going to go 0 to 10, 20, 30, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, I went up by 10. I don't need a zipper because I'm consistently going up by 10. I started at 0, right? So there would be scores as a percentage, and this would be frequency, number of students, okay? And the highest frequency is 10. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. That works out perfect. So this is 10, and halfway this is 5. Okay. So that's my frequency, and then we want frequency polygons, all right? So let's do class A first. So I'm going to use these frequencies, right, and plot them, and you're basically plotting the midpoints, right? So between 0 and 10, for class A, there are 0, right? And then there's 0 again. So I'm always going between the bars, basically. 20 to 30, 0 as well. 30 to 40, there are 5. 40 to 50, there are 3. So between 40 and 50, there are 3. Between 50 and 60, we have 6. Then we have 7, right? 7. Oh, that's 7 right there. My bad. Then we have 10 between 70 and 80. Then 2 and 1. So 2 and 1. and you always connect it to the ground if it's not automatically doing so. So I'm going to use a solid, maybe I'll just use red. Okay, so I connect all those midpoints, and then make sure you don't miss one. There we go. This is class A. And then class B, we do the same thing, but we look at the other frequency list now. So it's 0 as well. Between 10 and 20, there are 3 students. Between 20 and 30, 2. Between 30 and 41. Between 40 and 50, there are 3. So same, we're connecting to that. So you got to be careful there. And between 50 and 60, there are 3. 50 and 60, we have 3. 60 and 72. 70 to 83. 80 to 95. And 90 to 110. Okay, so that's going to be a dashed line. So let's see, I start here. And remember, this is used twice. There you go. And then make sure you close it somewhere here. Okay. There you have it. That's your frequency polygon. That's it for this video. I will make a third one for the last.